The sound of breaking glass echoes through our empty house, followed by hushed, angry voices from downstairs. My heart pounds as I freeze at the top of the stairs, still wearing my coat from Emma's late-night hospital visit. This isn't how I expected to end my evening, catching snippets of a conversation that shouldn't exist in my home. I'm Juliana, and until 30 seconds ago, I thought I knew what betrayal meant. You promised me, Derek. You said you'd handle this by now. A woman's voice, young and sharp with frustration, carries up the stairs. Keep your voice down, Derek, my husband, hisses back. This isn't the time or place. When is the time? After you drain every account dry. My fingers dig into the banister as I lean forward, careful to stay in the shadows. The wood creaks beneath my feet, but their argument drowns it out. I told you, the money's coming. Emma's treatments are eating up everything right now, but Emma this, Emma that. I'm sick of hearing about your sick kid. The words hit me like a physical blow. I taste copper. I've bitten my cheek without realizing it. Through the gap in the railing, I catch glimpses. Derek's familiar silhouette, and beside him, a woman I've never seen before. She's young, maybe late 20s, with the kind of confidence that comes from knowing exactly what you want and how to get it. Don't you dare bring my daughter into this, Derek says, but his voice lacks the fury it should have. Instead, he sounds tired, resigned. Your daughter? What about our future? The plans we made? I should storm down there. I should scream, throw things, demand answers. But something keeps me rooted in place, gathering intel like poisoned arrows for my quiver. Tina, please. Derek runs his hands through his hair, his tell when he's lying or stressed. I just need more time. Time? She laughs, bitter and sharp. You've had 2 years of time, Derek. 2 years of promises and excuses while I waited in the shadows. 2 years. The timeline hits me like another slap. 2 years ago, when Emma first got sick, when our world started falling apart, he was building a new one with her. I'll figure something out, he promises. The insurance money is for Emma's treatments, I say, finally finding my voice as I descend the stairs. My heels click against each step, a steady rhythm like a countdown to detonation. They both whirl toward me. Derek's face drains of color, while the woman, Tina, lifts her chin defiantly. The broken wine glass lies forgotten at their feet, red liquid seeping into our cream carpet like blood. Jules, Derek starts, taking a step forward. I can explain. Can you? My voice comes out steady, surprising even me. Can you explain why you're discussing our daughter's insurance money with your mistress in our living room? Tina's perfectly painted lips curve into a smirk. At least he won't have to pretend anymore. Tell her, Derek. Tell her about the accounts. What accounts? I turn to Derek, watching him shrink under my gaze. It's not what you think, he says weakly. It's exactly what she thinks, Tina cuts in. He's been moving money around for months, setting us up for our fresh start. The room spins slightly, but I refuse to show weakness. Instead, I walk to the bar cart and pour myself a generous measure of whiskey. Our daughter's treatment money, I say, taking a slow sip. You've been stealing from our dying daughter. Derek flinches. She's not dying. No thanks to you. I turn to Tina. You can leave now. Take your cheap perfume and cheaper morals with you. She grabs her purse, shooting Derek a look of disgust. Call me when you grow a spine. The front door slams behind her, leaving Derek and me in a silence heavy with unspoken accusations. I finish my drink, setting the glass down with deliberate care. I want you gone by morning, I tell him, my voice arctic. And Derek, whatever you've taken, whatever you've hidden, I'm going to find it, and then I'm going to take everything else. He opens his mouth to respond, but I'm already heading back upstairs. I have calls to make, to my lawyer, my sister, my bank. The night is young, and revenge, I'm discovering, is a dish best planned methodically. Behind me, Derek's voice cracks as he calls my name, but I don't turn around. Some bridges, once burned, leave nothing but ashes in their wake. The hospital corridor stretches before me like a timeline of broken promises. 2 years of memories flash by as I walk. Derek missing appointments, making excuses, always too busy with work emergencies to sit through Emma's treatments. I pause outside Emma's room, watching my daughter sleep through the observation window. The morning sun catches her pale face, making the shadows under her eyes more pronounced. She looks so much like her father when she sleeps. Rough night? Nora appears beside me, clipboard in hand. Her familiar presence steadies me, though she doesn't know about last night's revelation yet. You could say that. I manage a weak smile. How was she? Better. Her numbers are up. Nora hesitates, glancing at her clipboard. But there's something else. Derek called earlier, asking about her treatment schedule. He mentioned changing insurance providers. My fingers curl into fists. He what? I told him any changes would need both parents' signatures. Nora touches my arm. Juliana, is everything okay? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. It's Mia. I have to take this, I tell Nora, stepping away. You won't believe what I found, Mia says without preamble. Remember that consulting firm Derek started working with last year? The one handling all those overseas accounts. What about it? It doesn't exist. I mean, it exists on paper, but it's a shell company. And guess who's listed as a silent partner? My stomach drops. Tina. Bingo. They've been working together for months, moving money through fake consulting contracts. The fluorescent lights suddenly seem too bright. I lean against the wall, processing this new betrayal. How much? I'm still digging, but at least 6 figures. Jules, this isn't just an affair. This is fraud. A memory surfaces, Derek insisting on handling all the medical billing himself, claiming he wanted to spare me the stress. He's been stealing Emma's treatment money, I whisper. What are you going to do? Through the window, I watch Emma stir in her sleep. I'm going to destroy him, I say, my voice steady. But first, I need proof. The elevator dings, and Derek steps out, looking disheveled in yesterday's clothes. Our eyes meet across the corridor. I'll call you back, I tell Mia. Derek approaches cautiously, like I'm a wild animal that might attack. Jules, please, let me explain. Explain what? The affair, the fraud, or trying to change our daughter's insurance without telling me? He flinches. It's not what you think. I was trying to protect her. By stealing from her. My laugh is bitter. That's a creative definition of protection. The treatments weren't working. He runs his hands through his hair. That familiar tell. I found a specialist in Switzerland. Experimental treatments, but they're getting results. I needed the money. For Tina's startup company, I cut in. Don't insult my intelligence, Derek. His face pales. How did you... You're not as clever as you think. I step closer, lowering my voice. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer every penny back into Emma's treatment fund. Then you're going to sign whatever papers my lawyer sends you, or I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you are. You wouldn't, but there's fear in his eyes now. Think about Emma. The scandal. I am thinking about Emma. That's all I've ever thought about. I glance at our daughter's room. You lost the right to use her as a shield when you chose Tina over your family. It wasn't like that. Save it for someone who still believes your lies. I turn away, but his next words freeze me in place. There's something you don't know about Emma's condition. I look back, studying his face. There's something there. Guilt? Fear? What are you talking about? He opens his mouth, then closes it, conflict evident in his expression. I can't... Not here. Meet me at the cafe across the street in an hour. Please, Jules, for Emma's sake. I should refuse, should tell him to go to hell. But there's something in his voice that makes me hesitate. 1 hour, I agree coldly. And Derek, if you're lying to me again, what I do next won't just hurt your reputation. It will destroy everything you've built. He nods, backing away. As he retreats, I catch a glimpse of my reflection in the window. I barely recognize the hard-eyed woman staring back at me. Emma shifts in her sleep again, and I press my hand against the glass. Whatever Derek's hiding, whatever game he's playing, I'll find out, and this time, I'll be ready. The clock on the wall ticks steadily, counting down to our meeting. 60 minutes to prepare for whatever new betrayal awaits. The cafe feels like neutral territory, but I know better now. I've spent the last hour reviewing bank statements on my phone, each transaction a fresh wound. The paper trail Mia uncovered leads to more than just missing money. It's a map of calculated betrayal. Derek sits across from me, both hands wrapped around his coffee cup like it's a lifeline. The morning crowd mills around us, oblivious to the devastation about to unfold at table 7. "Start talking," I say, sliding my phone across the table. The spreadsheet glows accusingly. "Explain how $200,000 vanished from Emma's treatment fund." His face crumples. "I can get it back, most of it anyway. The investment." "Investment?" I laugh, sharp and hollow. "Is that what you're calling your girlfriend's startup?" "It's not like that." He leans forward, voice dropping. "The company's developing new treatment protocols. Experimental stuff, but promising. If it works, you and Tina get rich." The pieces click into place with sickening clarity. "You gambled our daughter's life on a get-rich-quick scheme with your mistress." "Jules, please, don't." I hold up my hand. "Just tell me what you meant about Emma's condition. What are you hiding?" He hesitates, glancing around the cafe. "The genetic testing we did last year. I didn't tell you everything." My coffee turns to acid in my stomach. "What didn't you tell me?" "There's a hereditary component. It's why the standard treatments aren't working as well as they should." He pulls out a folded paper from his jacket. "This is why I needed the money. This specialist in Switzerland. You knew." My voice shakes. "For a year you knew why our daughter wasn't getting better, and you said nothing." "I was trying to protect you. By lying, by stealing." The words taste like ashes. "By fucking your business partner while our daughter suffered." An elderly couple at the next table looks over, scandalized. Derek's face flushes. "Keep your voice down." "Why? Afraid someone might hear what kind of man you really are? You don't understand. The insurance wouldn't cover experimental treatments. I had to find another way." "So you chose fraud?" I grab my phone back, pulling up another document. "These transfer records, the shell company, the fake consulting fees, that was your solution?" He reaches for my hand. I yank it away. "Jules, everything I did was for Emma. Don't you dare use her name to justify this." My voice drops to a whisper. "You know what the worst part is? I would have helped you. If you'd told me about the genetic component, about the specialist, we could have figured something out together. Would you?" His expression hardens. "You were so focused on the approved treatments, following every doctor's order exactly. You wouldn't even consider alternatives. Because I trusted them. I trusted you." The words explode out of me. "God, Derek, do you even hear yourself? You're blaming me for your choices." "That's not what I—" My phone buzzes. A text from Mia. "Check your email. Found something big." I have to go. I stand, gathering my things. "My lawyer will contact you about returning the money. All of it." "Jules, wait." He grabs my wrist. "There's more you need to know about Emma's condition." I twist free. "Save it for the deposition. Please." His voice cracks. "I know I screwed up, but this isn't about us anymore. Emma's getting worse, and the treatment window is closing. We need to make decisions now." For a moment, I waver. Then I remember Tina's words from last night. "I'm sick of hearing about your sick kid." "You lost the right to make decisions when you chose her over us." I step back, straightening my spine. "I'm taking Emma to a different hospital, one where you won't have access to her records or her accounts. You can't do that. Watch me." I turn to leave, then pause. "Oh, and Derek, tell Tina to enjoy the startup money while it lasts. Because when I'm done, neither of you will have a penny or a reputation left." The cafe door chimes as I push through it, spring air hitting my face like a slap. My phone buzzes again, Mia's email waiting to reveal whatever new betrayal she's uncovered. But first, I need to call Gavin. It's time to stop playing defense. Derek wants to talk about treatment windows closing. I'll show him what it means to run out of time. Behind me, through the cafe window, I see Derek slump in his chair, head in his hands. Once, that sight would have broken my heart. Now, it just fuels my resolve. The game has changed. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about survival. Emma's survival. And I'll burn down everything Derek holds dear to ensure it. Mia's email changes everything. I stare at my laptop screen in Gavin's office, reading the message for the third time, while my lawyer remains unnaturally silent. "Tell me this isn't real," I say finally. Gavin removes his glasses, polishing them with deliberate care. The documents appear legitimate. Derek and Tina incorporated their biotech company 6 months before Emma's diagnosis. The implications hit me like a physical blow. Somehow they knew she would get sick. The genetic testing company they partnered with. Gavin taps the screen. They specialize in predictive diagnostics. Derek had access to Emma's genetic profile before her symptoms appeared. My hands shake as I close the laptop. He watched our daughter get sick, waited for it, built a whole business around it. There's more. Gavin slides a folder across his desk. The Swiss specialist Derek mentioned. He's on their board of directors. A laugh bubbles up, harsh, borderline hysterical. So that was a lie too, just another piece of their scheme. My phone buzzes. Brooke. I ignore it. "The question is," Gavin continues, "do we go public with this information? You mean, do I destroy Derek's company and risk losing access to treatment options that might help Emma?" The words taste bitter. Precisely. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Nora from the hospital. I answer, grateful for the interruption. "Juliana?" Nora's voice is tight with concern. "You need to come in. Emma's numbers dropped significantly in the last hour." The world tilts sideways. "I'm on my way." Gavin reads my expression. "Go. We'll continue this later." I'm halfway to the door when he adds, "Juliana, whatever you decide, remember, Derek's not the only one with resources now. The drive to the hospital is a blur." I find Nora at Emma's door, reviewing charts with another nurse. Her face tells me everything before she speaks. "The new treatment isn't working," she says softly. "We need to discuss alternatives." Through the window, I watch Emma sleep. She looks smaller somehow, more fragile than this morning. A movement catches my eye. Derek, emerging from the elevator with Tina beside him. "What is she doing here?" I hiss. "She's listed as a medical consultant." Nora checks her tablet. "The paperwork came through this afternoon." Of course it did. I turn to face them, blocking Emma's door. "You're not going anywhere near her." "Jules, please." Derek raises his hands. "Tina's company has protocols that could help. Protocols you developed using my daughter's genetic information. Without my consent." Tina steps forward, all professional confidence in her tailored suit. "Mrs. Harrison, I understand your anger, but our treatment plan—" "Our?" The word explodes from me. "There is no our when it comes to my child. You're not her doctor. You're not her family. You're just the woman who helped my husband steal from her." "That money funded research that could save her life," Tina counters. "Would you really let your revenge matter more than Emma's survival?" The question hits its mark. I falter, and Derek presses his advantage. "The genetic marker we identified, it's aggressive. Traditional treatments won't work fast enough." His voice cracks. "Please, Jules, let us help her." "Help her?" I laugh. "Like you helped by hiding her condition, by watching her get sick while you built your business." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I step closer, lowering my voice. "Tell me, Derek. Tell me how long you knew. Tell me how many nights you lay beside me, watching me worry about her symptoms, knowing what was coming." His silence is answer enough. "Mrs. Harrison," Nora interrupts gently. "Emma's awake. She's asking for you." I straighten my spine, making my choice. "Nora, please call security. These people are not authorized to be here." "Jules, I'm transferring Emma to Mayo Clinic tomorrow." The words come out steady, certain. Their genetic research department is expecting us. You can't, Derek starts. Watch me. I turn to Tina. Enjoy your company while it lasts. By this time next week, every medical ethics board in the country will know how you obtained your research data. You'd risk everything, Tina demands. Your daughter's best chance at treatment. I meet her gaze. No, I'm protecting her from people who saw her illness as a business opportunity. Security arrives as I enter Emma's room, closing the door on Derek's protests. My daughter's eyes flutter open, and she manages a weak smile. Mum, is everything okay? I take her hand, feeling its fragile warmth. It will be, baby, I promise. Outside, I hear Derek and Tina being escorted away. Tomorrow will bring new battles, new choices. But for now, I hold my daughter's hand and plan our escape from the web of lies her father wove around us. Mayo Clinic's waiting room feels like a fortress, but the email from Mia proves nowhere is truly safe. My hands shake as I read the message on my phone. They're trying to block the transfer. Derek filed for emergency custody. Brooke sits beside me, her presence steady as always. What are you thinking? I'm thinking about how many ways I can destroy him. I scroll through the attached legal documents. He's claiming I'm mentally unstable, that my vendetta against his company is endangering Emma's health. That's ridiculous. Is it? I meet her eyes. I'm planning to expose his company, knowing it might shut down research that could help her. What kind of mother does that make me? Before she can answer, my phone rings. Gavin. Their lawyers filed an injunction, he says without preamble. They're claiming their treatment protocol is Emma's best chance. They have affidavits from 3 specialists. Bought and paid for, no doubt. Probably, but it complicates things. Gavin pauses. There's something else. Tina's going public with their research tomorrow. They're announcing a breakthrough. The pieces click together. They're using Emma's genetic data. Without naming her, yes. Once it's published, they control the narrative. My free hand curls into a fist. And if I expose them after, I look like I'm willing to destroy legitimate medical research out of spite. Brooke touches my arm, pointing. Through the waiting room window, I see Derek and Tina approaching with a man in a suit, probably their lawyer. I have to go, I tell Gavin. Stall that injunction. I stand as they enter, positioning myself between them and Emma's room. Derek looks haggard, but Tina's practically glowing with triumph. You're not welcome here, I say. Actually, their lawyer steps forward. I have papers. I have papers too. I pull out my phone, pulling up Mia's latest email. Interesting reading. Want to explain why your company has been backdating research documents, Derek? His face pales. Tina grabs his arm. Don't say anything. Or maybe we should discuss the ethical violations in using undisclosed genetic data. I turn to their lawyer. I wonder how the medical board would feel about that. You're bluffing, Tina says, but uncertainty creeps into her voice. Am I? I forward Mia's email to their lawyer. Check your inbox. Pay special attention to the timestamp manipulation on those trial results. The lawyer pulls out his phone, scanning quickly. His expression shifts. We should discuss this outside, he tells Derek and Tina. No. Derek shakes them off, stepping closer. Jules, please. Everything we did, it was to help Emma. The research is real. The treatment works. Then why lie? My voice cracks. Why steal? Why hide behind backdated documents and manipulated data? Because no one would fund us otherwise, Tina bursts out. Do you know how many breakthrough treatments die in development because of bureaucratic red tape? We had to what? Use my daughter as your unauthorized test subject? Mrs. Harrison, a nurse appears. Emma's asking for you. Something in Derek breaks. Please, he whispers. Let me see her, just for a minute. I study him. This man I once loved, this stranger who built an empire on our daughter's pain. For a moment I waver. Then I remember the hidden accounts, the secret tests. 2 years of lies while he watched Emma suffer, waiting to profit from her illness. Your lawyer has my number, I tell him. When you're ready to transfer every penny back to Emma's treatment fund and resign from your company, we can discuss visitation. You can't do this, Tina starts, but their lawyer stops her. We should go, now. I watch them leave, Tina practically dragging Derek away. Only when they're gone does Brooke speak. You know they'll fight back harder now. Let them. I check my phone, another message from Mia, more ammunition. I'm done playing defense. Jules. Brooke hesitates. Are you sure this is still about protecting Emma? The question hits home, but Emma's nurse returns before I can answer. She's asking for her father, she says softly. My heart twists. Through the window, I watch my daughter, pale, tired, but fighting, just like me. Tell her he had to work, I say. Tell her he loves her very much. At least one of those statements isn't a lie. I turn back to my phone, to Mia's evidence of Derek and Tina's deception. Tomorrow, they'll announce their breakthrough. Tomorrow, they'll try to paint themselves as medical pioneers. But tonight, I'm going to burn their house of lies to the ground. The hospital benefit gala sparkles with false promises and champagne bubbles. I adjust my black dress, watching Derek and Tina work the crowd from across the ballroom. They're announcing their breakthrough tonight, their triumph built on my daughter's suffering. Everything's in place, Mia whispers, appearing at my elbow. Gavin's contact at the medical board is here, so are 3 journalists. I nod, fingering the USB drive in my clutch. And the investors? Front row. She squeezes my arm. Are you sure about this? Once you start... They left me no choice. My phone buzzes, Brooke with Emma. I ignore it. I can't think about my daughter right now. Can't let my resolve waver. Derek takes the stage, Tina beside him in a red dress that probably cost more than a month of Emma's treatments. The crowd hushes. Tonight represents hope, he begins, his voice carrying across the room. Hope for families facing genetic diseases. Hope for children who... Hope for your own daughter, Derek. My voice cuts through his speech. Heads turn. Derek freezes mid-sentence. Jules, he warns, don't. I move forward, holding up my phone. Tell them about Emma. Tell them how you knew she would get sick, how you built your company around her genetic profile. Tina steps forward. Security. Or better yet, I continue, tell them about the backdated research, the manipulated trial data, the money you stole from your dying daughter's treatment fund. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. I see investors exchanging glances, journalists scribbling notes. These are serious allegations, someone says, with proof. I hold up the USB drive. Every document, every transaction, every lie. Derek's face drains of color. Jules, please, think about Emma. I am thinking about Emma. The words explode from me. While you were building your empire on her pain, I was watching her suffer, holding her through treatments you knew wouldn't work because you were saving the real cure for your precious research trials. My phone buzzes again, and again. I ignore it. Mrs. Harrison, their lawyer steps forward. These claims are defamatory. They're true. A new voice, one of their researchers, looking terrified but determined. I can confirm everything she's saying. Chaos erupts. Investors demand answers. Journalists press forward. Through it all, Derek stares at me, something breaking in his eyes. Then my phone rings again. Nora's number this time. Something cold settles in my stomach. Hello? My voice shakes. Where are you? Nora sounds frantic. We've been trying to reach you. Emma's crashing. The new treatment. There's a reaction. The room spins. What? She's asking for you and Derek. She needs you both now. The phone slips from my hand. Derek must read the horror on my face because he's already moving. Tina forgotten. Emma, he asks. I can barely form words. Hospital, she's... We run for the exit together, leaving the chaos behind. In the taxi, my hands shake as I pull up Brooke's messages. Emma's fever spiking. Where are you? They're moving her to ICU. I did this, I whisper. I was so focused on destroying you. I wasn't there when... Don't. Derek's voice is raw. We both failed her. The hospital corridors blur as we race to Emma's room. Brooke meets us outside, tears streaming. They stabilized her, she says. But it was close, so close. Through the window, I see our daughter, pale, small, surrounded by machines. All my carefully planned revenge seems hollow now. The treatment protocol, Derek says quietly. The one we developed. It might be her best chance. The one you built using her stolen genetic data. My laugh is bitter. The one I just exposed to the world? Yes. He meets my eyes. So now we have a choice. Keep destroying each other, or save our daughter. The USB drive weighs heavy in my hand. All my evidence, all my ammunition. Through the window, Emma stirs, reaching for a hand that isn't there. I never wanted any of this, Derek whispers. I thought I could protect her, save her. I was wrong, about everything. I close my fingers around the drive, feeling the sharp edges dig into my palm. Revenge or redemption. I have to choose. Emma's monitors beep steadily, counting out the moments until our decision changes everything, again. The hospital lab feels like neutral ground and a battlefield all at once. I watch through the observation window as Derek reviews Emma's latest test results with his research team. Tina hovers nearby, her presence a constant reminder of everything that's broken. The genetic marker is advancing faster than we projected, Derek says, pointing to something on the screen. The standard protocol won't work, I finish, entering the room. Just like you knew it wouldn't 2 years ago. The research team exchanges glances, then files out quietly. Only Derek, Tina, and I remain, surrounded by machines that hold both promise and betrayal. Jules, Derek starts, but I hold up my hand. I found the original genetic screening. My voice stays steady as I pull out the document. The one from before Emma got sick. You didn't just predict her illness, you tracked its progression. Mapped out every stage while telling me everything was fine. Tina steps forward. We needed baseline data. She's not your lab rat. The words explode from me. She's my daughter. Our daughter, I add, glaring at Derek. Everything we did was to develop a cure. Derek insists. Yes, we took shortcuts. Yes, we committed fraud. Stole from her treatment fund. Used her genetic profile without consent. To save her life, Tina snaps. Do you know how many children our research could help? How many families? Don't. I turn to her, ice in my veins. Don't you dare pretend this was about helping families. This was about patents and profits and playing God with my daughter's DNA. Derek moves between us. The treatment works, Jules. The data proves it. Emma's latest results show exactly what you predicted they would. I pull out another document. Because you engineered the whole thing. The decline, the failed treatments, the perfectly timed breakthrough, it's all here in your research timeline. His face crumples. How did you... Your lead researcher grew a conscience. I meet his eyes. He told me everything. How you delayed standard treatments to create a control group. How you manipulated trial data to match your projections. That's not... Tina begins, but Derek cuts her off. Stop. He sinks into a chair, suddenly looking old. Just... stop. Silence fills the lab. Through the window, I can see Emma's room down the hall, where she fights for every breath while we fight over who owns her suffering. I'm taking her to Mayo Clinic, I say finally. Their genetic research department has agreed to review her case, legitimately this time. You can't. Tina's voice shakes. The protocols are proprietary. The research belongs to Emma. I pull out one last document. Gavin filed the paperwork this morning. Since her genetic profile was used without consent, she owns the intellectual property rights. All of it. Derek looks up sharply. What? Your company's finished. The patents, the trials, everything you built on her DNA. It's hers now, to be administered by a trust until she's 18. You're destroying years of work, Tina protests. Research that could help. I'm protecting my daughter. I turn to Derek. You have a choice. Sign control of the company over to the trust, or I release everything. The fraud, the manipulation, the ethical violations. Your career won't survive it, neither will your freedom. He stares at the floor for a long moment. When he looks up, there are tears in his eyes. The treatment protocol, he says quietly. It really does work. Despite everything else, all our lies, all our mistakes, we did create something that could save her. I know. My voice softens slightly. That's why I'm giving you a chance to do one right thing. Help transfer everything to the trust. Let legitimate researchers continue the work properly. For Emma. For all the children you claim to want to help. Tina grabs her purse. This is insane. Derek, you can't. It's over, Tina. He doesn't look at her. Get out. She leaves, her heels clicking angrily down the corridor. Through the window, I see her pass Emma's room without a glance. Derek picks up the consent forms with trembling hands. I never meant. I thought I could control everything, protect her by staying one step ahead of the disease. Instead, you became the disease. I watch him sign, consuming everything in your path. He hands me the papers, then stands. Will you let me say goodbye to her? I think of Emma asking for her father, of all the damage we've both done in the name of protecting her. No goodbyes, I say finally. But maybe we can find a way to help her heal. Together, but differently. He nods, understanding the olive branch for what it is. Not forgiveness, but a chance to rebuild something from the ashes of what we burned. Mayo Clinic's gardens bloom with spring flowers as Emma takes her first steps without assistance in months. The experimental treatment, her treatment, developed from her own genetic profile, is working. I watch from a bench, memorizing every wobbling step, every determined expression. She's getting stronger. Derek sits beside me, maintaining the careful distance we've established. He looks different now, humbled, grayer. The Medical Ethics Board stripped him of his license last week. The Trust's researchers think she'll make a full recovery. I hand him the latest report. They've already identified 3 other children with similar genetic markers. He nods, scanning the documents. And Tina took a plea deal. She's testifying against the pharmaceutical companies that funded your original research. Emma waves from the pathway, proud of her independence. We both wave back, and for a moment, I glimpse the family we used to be, before ambition and betrayal poisoned everything. I found something, Derek says quietly, pulling out an envelope. When we were transferring the company assets to the trust, small payments made to Emma's treatment fund over the past 2 years, anonymous donations. I take the envelope, already knowing what I'll find. You were trying to replace what you stole. Not replace, repent. He watches Emma examine a butterfly. I knew what I was doing was wrong. The fraud, the affair, using her illness for profit. But I couldn't stop. Every success pushed me further down that path until there was no path left. Yeah, he stands, brushing off his pants. The trust board meets tomorrow. They want me to consult on the research, under supervision, of course, help them understand the original protocols. What did you tell them? That I'd only do it if you approved. He meets my eyes. I know I don't deserve a second chance, Jules, but those other children... Dad, Emma calls out, look what I can do. We watch her attempt a small jump, stumbling, but catching herself. My heart clenches at her triumph, at how close we came to losing everything in our quest for vengeance and control. You can consult, I say finally. But everything goes through the trust, every decision, every treatment plan. Thank you. He starts to reach for my hand, then stops himself. I know it's not forgiveness. No. I stand too, gathering my things. It's evolution. We're learning to be something different. Something better, maybe. Emma runs over, actually runs, her cheeks flushed with effort. Can we get ice cream? Derek looks at me, questioning. I nod slightly. Sure, sweetheart, he says, but just for a little while. As they walk ahead, I check my phone. A message from Gavin. Final paperwork filed. Trust is fully operational. Another from Mia. Tina's testimony made the papers. Pharmaceutical stocks dropping. And one from Brooke. You okay? I watched Derek and Emma at the ice cream cart, their heads bent together over the flavor choices. The anger that drove me for so long has transformed into something else. Not peace exactly, but understanding. We all made choices thinking we were protecting Emma. We all got lost in our own versions of right and wrong. My phone buzzes again. An alert from the trust. More families coming forward, seeking help for their children. Emma's suffering transformed into hope for others. Not through Derek's deception or my revenge, but through truth finally set free. I join them at the cart, accepting the vanilla cone Emma insists on buying me with her allowance. We sit on a nearby bench, Emma in the middle, Derek and I on either side. Not quite a family anymore, but not quite strangers either. Mom, Emma licks her chocolate ice cream. Are you still angry at Dad? I meet Derek's eyes over her head, seeing my own journey reflected in his gaze. No, honey, I'm not angry anymore. I'm just awake. She nods, satisfied with this answer she doesn't fully understand. Derek looks away first, blinking rapidly. The butterfly Emma admired earlier floats past, catching the sunlight. I think about metamorphosis, how destruction and renewal are sometimes the same thing, how revenge can transform into redemption if you let it. Tell me about the other children, I say to Derek, the ones who need our help. He begins to speak, and Emma listens intently, ice cream forgotten. I watch them both, feeling the weight of the USB drive still in my purse, now just a relic of a battle that taught us all how to change.